this is Mark from My Keys to Music. Thanks for joining me on this video. Today we're talking about backing tracks, the accompaniment necessary to make your life better as a musician, especially when you're learning songs. What if you don't play with a band, but you just want to have great backing tracks for when you do want to learn these solos that I show you, or you just want to learn some piano parts or just play along with songs, but you don't necessarily want to hear the original keyboard sitting there playing alongside of you. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but most of the time when we talk about backing tracks, we sort of want the karaoke version, but for keyboardists. This actually works well for bassists and drummers and everything else. I'm about to show you a discovery that I've made not so long ago. It's called Karaoke Version. That's the name of the website, and I'll show you in just a minute. But we are going to take a look at how to make your own backing tracks, in a sense, karaoke style, for your own needs. And it's really amazing what you can do. And when you really think outside the box, there's a lot of flexibility you have here, and I'm going to show you some of those great features. And I think once you see this, you'll be buying your own tunes here to either rehearse or just to immerse yourself with. It's also a great little teaching tool for how to study songs. If you ever watch Rick Beato and how he talks about what he likes about certain songs, what makes this song great is the series that he has. He has what seems like the original backing tracks, and he's able to isolate each track. That's what we're going to be able to do. Unfortunately, it won't be with any of the original artists. It will be karaoke style. These are reproductions, if you will. It's a close second in some cases, and it's getting the job done, in my opinion. All right, let's take a look at backing tracks for musicians, especially keyboardists, since we're talking about keyboards here on this channel. So you can thank Barney, who's a subscriber of this channel. He was watching the discovery video on A Wider Shade of Pale. And he noticed that I had an accompaniment to go along with that. And I think that spawned the question, do you have a tutorial on how to make backing tracks? Solos are great, but on songs like this, a good backing track can make a good performance truly great. And I couldn't agree more, Barney. Especially if one is not in a band, which for the most part includes a lot of us. And even if you are in a band, I'm in a band, a lot of people are in a band, there's a lot of times where you want to rehearse on your own, and it would be great and lovely to have a band accompanying you or a band-like situation accompanying you. Karaoke, I keep going to that word karaoke, but singers use it all the time. You see countless videos on YouTube where there's backing tracks and a singer is, singing great music with a decent backing track. Why can't we have that for keyboard players, just minus the keyboard track? And that's what we're going to look at here. Do you have any recommendations? Keep up the good work. All right, thank you, Barney. Yes, I have a recommendation. I've done the research. I've actually purchased 4 tracks so far, and I think I'll be doing more along the way. But the ones that I've purchased, I'm fairly pleased with. And let's take a look. So the name of the website is karaoke-version.com, and I'll put a link for it in the description below this video. Take a look. It allows you to make a vocal backing track, a guitar, drum, bass, or piano backing track out of the box. And then what we're going to explore in this video is a custom backing track, which gives us really the full Monty. So I'm going to click on that, and then you can simply search for the track you want to customize and begin to work with it. Now, I've gone ahead and logged in, and we'll take a look at some of the tracks that I've purchased already. I've got Foreplay and Long Time, which is a song from Boston. It has a particularly difficult keyboard part. So if I want to customize this and remove the keyboard part so that I can play along and rehearse, I can do that. Or I can also make a version of that just has the keyboard part. Then I can bring it into a program like Capo. I have another video for that. I'll put a link above. Capo allows you to take an MP3 file, bring it in, change the speed, and allow you to rehearse at a slower speed without losing the pitch. It also is great for depicting really difficult keyboard solos and picking those notes out one by one. It's much easier to do that at a slower speed if you don't have the sheet music or if you can't read sheet music. Then I have another song called Benny of the Jets, which has a great piano part, very interesting voicings that Elton chooses for that. So I figured I'll eventually take a look at that. Now, some of these may not make it into video format here on the channel, but it's something that I'm looking at and I'm excited about. The one we are going to look at today is Roundabout. I'll talk about that in a second. And then here is A Wider Shade of Pale from Procol Harum. If you saw the video I did recently, which talked about the B3 settings that we used to make a near perfect duplicate or representation of that song and the organ sound used, I actually used this backing track to produce that video. Now, it wasn't used throughout the video, it was used through parts of the video, but it really was an interesting way to go about it, because traditionally I have been making videos using the actual backing tracks from the artists themselves, grabbing Spotify and doing it that way. And although that's an effective way to learn, it's difficult because it's a gray area with copyright and other things. For example, the solos, the keyboard solos, if I'm looking at a keyboard solo and talking about a discovery video and we're trying to figure out a particular part of it, it's kind of, in a way, disturbing to hear the original if you're trying to hear the emulation of it at the same time. So by removing those tracks, like we're about to do here, that becomes a whole nother opportunity for you. And actually, it's quite exciting, which is why I'm talking about this website today. So let's just go take a look at Roundabout. I'll click on Roundabout, and your world will open up. It's really incredible. Roundabout is the name of the song. Yes is the name of the group. The custom backing track for MP3. In other words, once I do my mix here, I'm going to be able to get an MP3 of it. And what's more is I can do this unlimited times. Once I make that purchase, which is right around $3 US for the custom tracks, some of the other tracks are a little less money if you do just the vocal backing track, and they're already predefined, they'll charge a little less. But for these custom tracks, they seem to be about $3. I only have 4 of them, but they were all about the same price. The tempo on this song is 132 beats per minute. It tells you the key, tells you that the song has no fade out. The duration is 8 minutes and 34 seconds. This is a whopper of a song, and a really good one to look at here, because there's some pretty darn difficult keyboard parts that Rick Wakeman puts down on these tracks. So let's take a look at this. Now, the preview starts at 7 minutes and 6 seconds. And what you do is you determine your mix and the preview of it. Then you click download, and you'll get the completed song with the mix that you chose. The options are numerous. You can choose to have a backing click track, and you can choose to have an intro count to that or not. This is particularly good if you are a drummer, let's say, or a percussionist, and you want to not have the drums. You might need a click track to keep you grounded, and so you also know when the song begins. So that's a handy option. We won't be using that option today. But I can choose to have the drum kit, and this is my mute or unmute button. And if I unmute these, you can see they go to 100%. You can also choose whether they're left and right channel or center. So I'll do center on all of these. And this is what the preview sounds like with everything, all the keyboard parts, all the guitar parts, vocals and everything. Let's just listen to that. So that's the track. Pretty darn good, actually. This one got a 5 out of 5 rating. I assume that the ratings are really an indication of whether the quality is as close to the original as possible. And this one is pretty good. I mean, obviously it's not John Anderson singing. Obviously it's not the original artist. But it will do in a pinch, especially if you're just rehearsing and you want to do that. It's probably better than nothing. It's probably a whole lot better than nothing, actually. All right, so let's just remove those keyboard parts and see what that might sound like. Let me remove the organ, and I'll keep it playing from where it was. I'll just kind of take it out and bring it back in again. Okay, here's the organ. Now I'm going to remove it. And there's the organ. So you can play along. All right. So that's pretty powerful. Now, likewise, I can isolate and solo just the organ itself, like this. So, wow, that's pretty incredible, because sometimes it's hard to hear those solos with all the other instruments. And that's why the program Capo was created to, one of the reasons it was created is because it makes it a little easier at isolating that. But this is by far easier in terms of isolation. So you could take that solo part, create an MP3 mix for it by downloading it, And then you can bring that into capo and slow it down, or just play it at regular speed and just try to play along, or just to figure out what notes the original keyboardist is playing. Or you can get the sheet music, but not everyone reads sheet music, and sometimes these things are better done by ear anyway at the end of the day, if that's the way you learn. Okay, so you heard what it sounds like in its full glory. You heard what I can do by soloing the tracks or by muting certain tracks. Another thing you can do here is you can change the key. So if I bring it down a half step and reload that, I'll get the opportunity to have this entire song reconstructed in a different key. This is particularly good if you're a singer and you want to sing it at a half step lower, because John Anderson traditionally sings very high. That might be high for some singers. You could make your own backing track for that. If you're a keyboard player and you've been asked to play it in a different key, this is another way to rehearse in a different key, although us keyboard players have it real easy because we just click a button called transpose and we can play it in whatever key we want and have the keyboard do the transposition for us, especially if we've learned it in the original key and now the band has said, let's play it in a different key. That's where the transpose button comes in handy. But if you're a guitar player, bass player, or singer, you don't have a transpose button. You actually got to do it for real. So here's what it sounds like a half step lower. Now you'll notice the tempo didn't change, but the pitch did. Amazing. So you can go up to 4 semitones down and 4 semitones up with this current version of the offering. And you can see that they have presets down here too. So if you want just the drum backing track, that will be all the tracks minus the drums. If you want a bass backing track, these are quick keys or hotkeys, if you will, to do that. I should have just did this with the keyboard track, and that'll do that. You could even have a flute backing track if you... I didn't know there was a flute in here. It could just be a synth or something. I guess there is a flute in there, but I can't preview that now because I can only preview a certain part of it. So this is something that I'm totally excited about and plan on exploring more. If you just want to explore a song, a complicated song, and you want to pick out those notes, a lot like Rick Beato does, where he says what makes the song great and he can isolate those tracks. Really fantastic to be able to do that. It gives you a whole nother level of appreciation for the original song. And like I mentioned, not all tracks are created equal here. Some are better than others. This one is a particularly good one. You'll have to get used to the singers because they're not the original singers. You'll have to get used to everything because it's not the original. But at the end of the day, this is a really neat option for learning songs, for rehearsing songs, for discovering music, or for just having fun with your favorite artists and your favorite songs. They don't have every single song that you can imagine. As you imagine, these are actually constructed by human beings, so to reconstruct every song and isolate the tracks like they've done here, obviously they've picked the most popular songs. So not every song is available, but surprisingly, a lot of them are. And some of these oddball ones too are available, so I'm quite pleased with that. So enjoy this service. I'm going to be potentially reporting back on this. Thanks again, Barney, for your suggestion and getting me on this road. And I think this is a neat thing for us to know about. We can actually do things like this. I can bring up a web browser, make a custom mix, and have my custom song moments later. That is, we could never do that 10 years ago. Couldn't even do it 5 years ago, I don't think. All right, thanks for watching. My name is Mark. This is My Keys to Music. Feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, and all that good stuff. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for your support. It has been quite a journey so far. A lot more to come. Talk to you later.
The sky and the sand there. 1 mile over, we'll be there and we'll see you.